So, welcome to this class of Reservoir Engineering and Development Geology. So, today we are going to discuss how to develop a field in the very early stage, of your field. So, what we have discussed so far, different data acquisition methods, how to acquire different data in different times. But this class is pertaining to the exploration and appraisal in the very early stage. That means during this time we may have got certain exploratory opportunity which we need to develop it maybe with the exploratory drilling also. So an exploratory opportunity is the anticipation of a given accumulation of oil and gas based on seismic section and well data. Maybe it's a far off well, but that information sometimes helps to or used to get certain idea. So using these inputs, so what are the inputs? Initially, we may have seismic sections. We may have certain signals that this area may possess some oil accumulations and maybe an offset or well, which is far away, maybe away from this particular area. So using these inputs and a certain degree of knowledge, interpretation and imagination, it is possible to construct a geological model that will represent the structure of the prospect. So that means what we have initial very few informations through which and we could input little bit of our imaginations to construct a geological model. So the model based on seismic section and nearby well data will provide a conceptual design, but until one exploratory well is drilled, no presence of hydrocarbon can be assumed. So this is what is there. So you may have some drillable prospects. So that you once you drill and you found hydrocarbon, then only you can be so sure. Okay, this we are going to develop with time. So now if I just see what are the different inputs we will put initially and we will go proceed further. So volume to volume is therefore a process of identifying prospects, calculating its volume and converting it to a monetary value. It's a stepwise process, how we'll go ahead. So initially we'll rely on the mostly on geology and geophysics information. So the entire process starts here with the delineation of the leads and prospects and estimation of the volume in place. So this volume will also define the number of explorative wells needed to be drilled to prove the and discover them. So initially based on geology information mostly as well as geophysics and geology information. Once we drill a well, that means we have certain idea about that means the hydrocarbon is there. So now the role of reservoir engineers is in play. So reservoir engineers will then estimate recovery factors with to apply these volumes, thereby converting them to recoverable volume. So what that means after that in very early stage of our explorative well, we collect information. We have discussed in detail because during the fluids you may have during the mud logging, during the drilling also we try to gather information in form of well logging, in form of collecting whole cores or maybe core plug samples to get detail about the reservoir understanding as well as the well test informations also to understand the extension of the reservoir. At the same time, they will define a number of development wells. That means in the early stage, we cannot start our development in full phase. So what we may have to drill few exploratory step out well or maybe appraise well to understand our extension of the reservoir. Okay, so the possible development scenario will be created. So what initially a very few information. So that means we may not have sufficient information to go full-fledged development. So that's why exploration and appraisal cost, development well cost, facility of subsea cost and operational cost will be estimated and updates on market factors as well as contingency will be added. So whenever we are trying to develop a field in the initial stage, we should be very much careful about the economic part also. So the initial development scenario will then be passed to a local company. That means you may have different regulatory bodies. It may be state authority, it may be a central authority where you need to give them for your scenario so that they will evaluate your situations and they will allow you to go for your exploitation. Okay. So economic analysis will be assessed and need present value and expected monetary value figures will be created for all scenarios. Okay. So that means these are the economic part which we need to take care. and that means every calculation, net present day value, the maybe payback period, everything we need to show the regulatory bodies so that they will give us the permission to go ahead for the exploitation. So this cutoff will then indicate to the subsurface team to minimize volumes that should be discarded. Okay, so that means now we sometimes do overestimated volume calculation. So that time subsurface team means mainly the reservoir people will take care of some other aspect, geology, geophysics people and reservoir people, and then they will try to come down to an reasonable reserves so that we'll go ahead for the, okay, so the new mean success volumes will be estimated as then just to be used the whole distribution curve, the volume, but only that part which provides NPV greater than 0 project. So that means once if you are going below 0 value, that means you are not going to get the project approved. So you must be in profitable side so that people will accept your proposal so that you may go ahead. So the whole cycle is then repeated for the final economy is guiding the decision makers in ascertaining what the best approach for the project. So this is what the whole cycle of developing a field. So initial part we may develop even in the later stage also when we have sufficient information. That time also we go ahead for the same cycle every time. Okay. So now that we have already discussed, but now we are going in a more specific way how to go ahead, how to develop an appraisal or maybe how to develop an early stage of the field development. Okay. So we have discussed, we have already done our assignments related to volumetric reserve estimation. So you can see here the formulations used for different volumetric reserve estimation, and we have discussed in detail how we gather all the information pertaining to reserve calculation. Okay. The rock properties which will be needed for these calculations are already discussed: area, then your porosity, net thickness, then formation volume factor, and your current water you can say SO. Okay. Most of the parameters will not be known and sometimes estimated. If you have drilled a well, if you have done your logging, if you have collected your whole core samples, then you could cut it and do certain laboratory tests as well. You can estimate your different parameters for calculating your logging information, convert it to SW or SWO, SO. So that can help you to understand your different parameters. Okay. So another part, how they are related. We discussed last class how the reservoir is characterized. So even we have minimum information for reservoir, but that we need to take care. So porosity is often from well drilled in the area. Porosity versus depth trend usually provide a good source to estimate porosity ranging for different depths in a particular basin. So what we, if we have certain information about the other area of the well, other area of this particular field, that time we may have certain correlations or trend we could get from the nearby wells or area so that we could go ahead. So if you just see this graph, how we correlate. So if you see the different age rocks are there, Pliocene and Middle Miocene, different geological age rocks are there. This Middle Miocene rocks has a specific trend where you see according to date the porosity is increasing, decreasing. Whereas in case of Pliocene rock, they have a specific pattern which is following. So now using this plot, we could understand at a depth of 15,000 feet what should be the porosity of this specific formation, and using that we could get our estimation of our reserves. So this is how we are trying to understand our parameters even if you don't have the data. Okay, so rock property, porosity and permeability relations. It is also possible to derive a range of permeability from porosity assuming there is a good trend of or agreement between the two parameters. These are what Middle Miocene rocks you can see. Depending on the porosity value, we have the permeability ranges also. This is in semi-log scale, so this is in log scale, this is in normal scale, so you can understand. So now if your rocks having the same age and the area is more or less same or the basin is same, so you can use. So the permeability is not required in the volume calculation, but when you are trying to exploit the reserves, so that time you may require using your flow calculation or permeability is very much required. Okay. So now what is saturation, permeability trend? Okay. So if you see here the similar trend, that means depending on the rock permeability, what the plot has been done. Okay. So if you see Middle Miocene having the plotted here in the diamond shape, blue diamond shape, whereas the pink color is showing you lower Pliocene. So one should expect that the lower the permeability, the higher the initial saturation. You see, once the permeability is very less, higher the that we have discussed early. Okay, so what? Because if your permeability is less, so you may have initial water saturation is high. That means permeability is generally related to porosity. That means if your porosity or permeability is very less, that means your water or the crude oil which is migrating from the source, it may not enter into the small pores. That's why wherever you have the less permeability which is correlatable with the low porosity value and small size pores, so that can be related to your water saturation. So initial water saturation and permeability is showing a good correlation for the middle Miocene and lower Pliocene sands. So that's why how these are basically your idea you need to put together. So note the consistency of this plot. So a very good agreement with the power function. So we have you can correlate with your different base fit curve having certain functions parameter. You can use that to get your specific value of water saturation by calculating your permeability. So you can understand porosity value depending on the age of rock. You can get a trend, and from that you can estimate your porosity value. If you have any porosity permeability relation of the nearby area, you can use that to get your things done with the help of other informations also. So this is how we are trying to use different existing information and the nearby area to get our understanding for our own specific reservoir. So recovery efficiency versus depth or play trend. So you see how to put the recovery. We have discussed certain amount of petrophysics as well as different parameters, how they are trying to give us some idea about helping us to get some idea about the recovery parameters. So recovery efficiency influences several factors. It is extremely important to estimate it in advance, especially for exploratory teams in order to get an initial range of recovery. So what always you could understand the economics play a role for doing for putting any investment into the oil industry. So whenever we are trying to get some initial recovery part of it, that depends. That means that value is completely giving you the economics part. So the overestimated recovery, underestimated or conservative estimates of the recovery will play havoc in our particular business activity. Okay, so that's why you can just see here different rocks having different recovery efficiency. You can see the trend, middle Miocene, lower Miocene, Paleogene. So sometimes linear, you may not have linear trend also sometimes. So recovery different play in the this Gulf of Mexico. Okay, so different data are plotted for the Gulf of Mexico, different deep water systems. So Miocene sand seems to be a good trend with depth, as does the lower Miocene. This means these two rocks having a specific trend, but the other don't follow any specific trend. So even if you have this sort of information, that can give you some idea so that you can logically put certain recovery factor, okay, recovery efficiency for a specific. So another, you see, this is a good example where more work should be done to get the Pliocene field according to the reservoir features. Pliocene sands can be set in two groups. One is higher permeability and the other is lower permeability. So when you have the higher permeability value, you can see there, and you have your higher permeability value here, 30 to 40% high recovery, whereas low permeability you don't have the recovery that way. Okay, 10 to 25% recovery. So that means depending on your petrophysical parameters, you could just judge in the initial stage of a field how should I go ahead for exploiting my reservoir in a specific pattern and more logically. So this figure you see varies from recovery factor from 50 to 90%. You just see with an average of 60 to 70%. Low recovery is maybe due to the presence of condensate. So this is a gas field. That's why you can understand how the gas condensate will behave. So once you decrease in pressure, the gas will convert it to liquid. So that may not be recovered sometimes. Okay. So very little amount of liquid is condensate is actually deposited into a reservoir that could not be taken away or that could not be produced even if you do many things. Okay. So now these are some of the parameters which already we have discussed how different parameters actually helping you to get your things done in much better way. So as we have discussed during the early stage in the exploratory well, we generally collect fluid samples for doing our PVT study. So that PVT will help you to understand what type of fluid you have and how much you could put the recovery factor. Because before that we have discussed we have different types of type of fluid. It may be a gas, it may be a gas condensate. You may have your heavy oil, it may be light oil, and depending on your different seep action, we have understood how they will behave once your pressure is decreased. Okay, so it is recommended that the value be evaluated at reservoir condition at the average reservoir pressure at the time of test. Okay, so now note that when calculating the oil formation of factor from correlation, the solution gas oil ratio has been significant effect on the volume. That we have already learned in our early semester and the subsequent after this semester also, because different parameters is going to affect. So that means this is one part of preparing your confidence by correlating different parameters from a field which is very nearby or maybe which is just part of that field. Okay, but in some cases we search for use of analog. That means what is analog? Analog is similar type of field, similar type of thickness, similar type of depth, similar type of situation. So to derive a reservoir analog for any area is an important task in order to validate. When you are doing some evaluation actually, okay, so that means when we are particularly evaluating certain aspect of recovery and other parameters, if we find any analog, field analog that will be more convincing for doing certain activity in a more confident way. So what are the different way to do? So first, you pick a good database. So what you have the commercial where you can pay some amount with the different types of companies are there. They have a reserve database. You can pay a subscription and get the existing field detail information. That is the first. Okay. So select those that have potential interest. So now you find out your specific interest field which will help you, which would help you to understand how you are going at. Okay, so now then you put your analog parameters, how to do your activity. So you can see determine analog parameters. That means whatever your property, are they matching? The analog field is matching with your own reservoir parameter. Summarize. So I'll one by one I'll discuss how to go ahead for this. Okay. So determine the analog parameters that are relevant to the study area, such as expected ultimate recovery, wear initials, etc., or a combination of them, such as your reservoir permeability, Kh versus mu. Okay, so this is how you are trying to understand your reservoir. So one part is using certain part of the data which are very near to your field, or maybe you are using an analog data to get your things done or to get your parameters right. Okay. So now if you see group of parameters in the way that you can see trends or correlations, use this trend to create or validate your assumption. Whatever you assume in your database, so now you see you are getting certain, well, okay, now use the parameters. If this parameters is matching with your parameters, okay, Alaska analog field, you are getting the parameters right, so you can move ahead with the confidence so that, okay, whatever data I have assumed for my own calculation and recovery parameters, that is more or less right with the analog field. It is possible to see a trend of recovery factor by depth and by play. So if you just see, here we have different types of rocks, okay, in that analogous field. Pliocene, lower Miocene, Paleogene, and Miocene. You see there is, by simply observing the data, it is clearly seen that for the same depth, the lowest recovery factor will be found in the lower tertiary and the highest in the Pliocene trend. Okay, that means depending on the age of the rock, you are getting the recovery factor less in young rock, whereas sometimes you are getting the highest recovery. Okay, so we can use this trend to estimate our recovery factor in this place, but very carefully. Okay, so we can also create other trends such as recovery versus oil quality or versus a group of fluid and rock properties. So now what, depending on that, we could categorize our own information, whatever little data we have, to understand our own domain or own particular field area or the block. Okay, so some database will contain more geological data, others will have more reservoir data. So this means our knowledge base, we will use our knowledge base to understand particularly the recovery factor or the recovery factor which will ultimately give us the economics part in a much better way. Okay, so output of a commercial database. So just as the different field, oil and gas, condensate, upper Pliocene, so you can top depth pit oil recovery. So you can understand. Okay, this above example show output of a commercial database in the format of downloaded spreadsheet. So the user can select the information needed and use the information to determine their own trends and correlations. Okay. So if you have a hydrocarbon type you have, and if it is matching with your time and also depth, so that way, even if you have a similar crude, similar petrophysical parameters, then you can properly use for a recovery factor. Okay. So the other database will display information as a PDF file and summary sheet, text and figures. So whenever you are having some informations what you need to see and check. Okay, so that's why the general idea is to give the reader of how to start a simple search of analog and how to use the information obtained in the most productive way for the project. That means you should learn how to go ahead for doing your own activity for developing a field. These are some of the ideas. Okay, so useful trends derived using analog. So once you are doing, you see this is one trend, is another trend. So which trend you want to follow, and because you need to correlate with your analog is another useful trends derived using analog. So you can understand how different age rock will give us different trends of water saturation with respect to permeability, and that ultimately help us to use the same formulations for our own activity. Okay. So volumes and recovery efficiency. So now you see we have discussed about our own volumetric reserve estimation assignments. We have calculated. Okay, so the methodology adopted generally a combination of analog correlations as well as use of analytical method. So that means what our main purpose is to understand how much reserves is there and how we exploit by using different correlations or combination of analog correlations as well as analytical technique. So this is what we need to take care. Recovery factor by analog, you just see we have different age rock and they have a different recovery at trends. So depending on that, you see depth of your formations, you can put which, and you need to logically put why I am taking this recovery factor, not the other one. So this is how when you are preparing your development plan, you need to be very cautious and you need to be very confident so that you justify whatever value you have taken for your own statement. Okay. So ultimate recovery, expected ultimate recovery well, and recovery factor 10 by analytical solution. We could use certain formulations to put our ultimate recovery. You can see here. Okay. So depletion equation. Different people with time have put forward different models to select your ultimate recovery by this. You can see here. This is a well test formulations. Okay. PE, PW, RE, RW, everything. So by using different models, we could use the ultimate recovery. You can select the ultimate recovery. Okay, so these are, once we have the final ASO, means oil saturation at the abandonment pressure, the recovery factor can be calculated. That means how you are giving for the ASO, initial saturation, and what rate you are going to exploit the field, and once you are getting an economic rate at the end of your production, that can give you how much you recover so far from a reservoir, and that will be used for calculating your economics. Okay, so the analytical modeling will also be improved with the use of probabilistic range of decline rates to estimate, for an example. Okay, so this is how we need to initial part. I told you this is the initial part of the development, so may not be you are very correct. Your trend may go, but you may be wrong sometimes and giving may a wrong perspective also, because by that time initially we may not have detailed idea about the drive mechanism existing in the field. We may not have sufficient information. We may not have sufficient pressure data. We may not have sufficient decline rate method also, decline part. Okay. So that means in this case, Darcy radial flow equation, the analytical model for decline rate can be used also. So, but you may change, because that can be valid when your operation conditions are fixed or stable. But once you are changing your operation condition, then it cannot be following the same trend. Faulting, baffling, which prohibit pressure communication, because we are not very sure, depending on the flow, production, how much it has reached, reservoir vertical heterogeneity. So this detailed information we may not have initial stage. So that's why what we do, okay, we adopt use existing agreed inputs distribution for the basis of modeling work. So now you can go for a modeling part, putting all the information, aggregate inputs range to ensure broad enough capture for all prospects, combine a single inflow model and decline model to determine ultimate recovery. Okay, apply Monte Carlo. So you can take certain risk. There is the computer simulation analysis also to understand the whole business activity or whatever you are doing. Okay, so these are some of the input. That means what you can see. Summary of input table with input distribution that can be considered as an input for Monte Carlo. So whenever you are using initial stage software, that also sometimes help you. So you can just see gross thickness, okay, then your P10, P20, maximum value, standard deviation, okay, so log normal plot, need thickness in fractions, okay, so minimum, you don't have the maximum value here, so you have your mean value, so now you are taking different parameters, probability. So what, when we are trying to use certain software for calculating our different, so this is for Monte Carlo analysis, okay, so the porosity value. So what, initial part you may not be very confident using the data, so here you see the range of your minimum and maximum is huge, okay, but still for understanding certain way, we try to put certain parameters per hour, okay, so these are what, how you have seen the distribution and how you have taken selection at the maximum value and which is the mean value, okay, so this is how each and every parameters we are giving the input parameters. Then now rock property, gross thickness, okay, now you can see minimum P10 and P50, P10, P50 and P90, that means particularly the probability, okay, so probability of getting the value, okay, then fluid property you can see formation volume factor, what this is huge range 1.05 to 1.5, fluid viscosity value, okay, this program we are using this program, rock property, then inflow performance. So this is what you can see now, skin, vertical drawdown, horizontal drawdown, decline property. So what, these are estimated from your transient oil test information, okay. So as you have little idea about what is the transient oil test, how we get the dynamic property around the wellbore, so that also you could use. So this is one important part. We need to be very much cautious about the data validation because we have plenty of information all over the industry. But validation of your data is very important to go ahead for the specific input parameters. Okay. So now, if you see here, this. Okay. So now the input parameters. So whenever we are just going for input parameters, you can understand here. Okay, average permeability. So what our role is to put this parameter. So how to put this parameter? We have a lot of discussion in the last semester as well as this semester also. We have backward the data in different scale. You see different scales. Now maybe at 4 plus we have done the particularly the flow test. Flow test means four test. Then we have done certain parameters estimation from the log. So now, and also sometimes we have certain parameters from the well test data also. So now, how to average this information? That is your own knowledge, by which, and you should be confident enough where when you are putting some information, you have the sufficient background to support your data right. Okay. Gross formation thickness. I told you different well may not have sufficient information to get a correlation. So by putting your logical approach from the environment of deposition point of view, you can, or maybe the log correlations, or maybe some other way, you could get the right data for your gross thickness. Then the net to gross ratio, because you see sometimes one well or two well, sporadic well may not give you detailed information regarding the net to gross thickness. So that is how you need to logically give the input parameters right. Then we have discussed about these parameters, particularly oil. Okay, so this is oil viscosity, formation, volume factor. When we have collected the rock crude samples from our PVT study, we may have some data regarding this PVT study. Okay, so this is that means you could understand when in the initial stage of your understanding, you are putting the information for your software, you should be very careful where from you are receiving the information and how this data you are validating. If being a scientist or engineer in front of a software, if you cannot judge properly or if you cannot validate the information right, you may be landing into a domain where you are getting a wrong information, a wrong calculation for the whole data input. Okay, so RE drainage radius, RW well radius, this is the skin. So these informations you may get from an oil test information. I have discussed in detail for you people so that you could understand this dynamic information from the transient well test. Okay, so transmissivity or viscosity, that means when we have, because we could calculate the KH parameters from the well test informations, and then if you have a skin or if you have the well viscosity, so by using that you could get the transmissivity and storativity of your specific reservoir. And well test data, I told you, will give you the dynamic information right from the wellbore to up to a boundary. So that means by detailed study of your transient well test, you could get certain idea about the extension of your reservoir and how each and every part of your reservoir is behaving. That will help you to understand. Even you can, the dynamic model, static model could be converted to dynamic model if you properly interpret the well test information. Okay. So now the productivity index is calculated on the basis of your at what rate you wanted to decline. So because we have discussed during our crude oil study or reservoir study, your phase, we have the specific phase envelope for a specific crude of the reservoir. Now, depending on the porosity, permeability, or the connectivity, at what rate we wanted to exploit, because depending on your locations of the field, it may be an offshore oil, it may be an onshore, or it may be in a specific critical situations. So depending on that, because we wanted to get our investment back very early, so our flow rate should be varying, and that should be economically and particularly one is economic, another is part is technologically valid. Otherwise, you cannot produce. So the productivity index is specifically done with the help of many parameters. Okay, so it may be the crude type, it may be the situations, either offshore or onshore, or it may be a specific type of reservoir you want to exploit. So that help you to put. So this is your logical way to take the data right. Okay, because we don't want to go below bubble point pressure, so that we should maintain the fluid production more at up to a certain level. And once you get, so early stage is very tough for us to understand the whole reservoir. Okay, so initial production rate, if you are putting, okay, so barrels per day, standard tank barrel per day, stock tank barrel per day, so annual decline rate. So now what, these are certain values which you may not predict very early, but still you need to give certain parameters to get your economics right. Okay, so this is what we are trying to give certain parameters. Okay, so once you put all the parameters right, so you should below figure summarize the outcome from the Monte Carlo simulation after running for over 5,000 or more iteration and plotting for every KH by mu the range of expected ultimate recovery oil found. So now what is there? If you just put, then you can understand 5,000 iteration. So each and every time, whenever you are changing the parameters, your output would be changed. Okay. So that means whenever, this is a very huge time and the cost also involved. So that means being a specific engineer. So what my main purpose is, so whenever we are just putting the parameters here, we should be very cautious by giving the parameters right. So if you just remember, because that's why from the beginning of the semester, I was trying to emphasize you, whenever we are going for doing our job as a geoscientist, we should be careful, because nature is not very homogeneous. So that's why whenever being a geologist or geoscientist, we are gathering information that should be properly logically put for an average or maybe a logical value in an engineering equation. So whenever we have specific analysis, so the analysis is done on the basis of the input parameters. So whenever we are thinking about the depth thickness, gross thickness, the permeability value, the porosity value, saturation value, formation water factor, formation volume factor. So it is not only one person who are generating the information. So you could understand each and every persons are involved in the whole business activity, and they may not be very much aware about their usefulness of this specific information. So whenever being an engineer, we should be knowledgeable enough. When we are doing certain specific job, we should know where this data should be useful. Even if we are generating certain data, then whenever the people are using, the users should be knowledgeable enough to validate the information, because you can see now many things are coming into picture. Now big data analytics, this is an important aspect. So people are going for this big data analytics. So what is big data analytics? If you don't know the logic, how to validate the information, how to validate the data you have, you cannot be a big data analytics. So you must know the technicality first, the technology behind this, what are the data you are going to put for your engineering equations. You should know how the data has been acquired. Otherwise, just putting in the mathematical formulation is not solving your problem, because you don't know in which condition the data has been acquired. You don't know how this data is going to use. You don't know how the data, so the data plus minus range. Okay, so this is how, that means during whenever you are in this high risk business, you should be very much knowledgeable enough to specifically use the information which you are given the responsibility. So that means I am in regular basis or regular classes, I am trying to emphasize the fluid data, how we are gathering the information, how we are going for the PPT study, how the PPT study data is helping us in each and every domain of our activity, right from the exploration to up to the abandonment. Then if you see, and it is not only a single way of gathering the information, we are gathering the information in different times, we are gathering the information, we are acquiring the information in different way, we are acquiring the information at different scale. So my input should be to validate the information in the proper way and then trying to analyze in a specific manner. Okay, so this is what we input parameters, and if you remember, we have 5,000 iterations of the simulation, and then each and every time if we are changing certain parameters, that means it is a huge cost, computing cost. You can understand that. That means whenever we are putting the information, we cannot always go for trial and error, because it is cost intensive activity for modeling and calculation skill. Okay, so this is how, because whenever I am going to be a professional for the future, I should be knowledgeable enough to start my activity right now in a more logical way, because once I start from the wrong step, I will be always landing in the wrong platform or wrong answers. Okay, so this is how my knowledge should be more robust and logical to put my specific parameter in a specific way whenever I am working in a specific domain. Okay, so now I just discussed everything, and this is now in a, so what the last what it is there, that means whenever we are trying to develop a field in the very early stage of its appraisal, so we may not have sufficient information, but what we could do, we could use a nearby field data for getting some information right, or we can find out giving some using some professional site, giving some nominal amount of money to get their data. Now once we get the analogous field of our own related to our own field, then we can get certain parameters right and develop our own data based on these two informations, and then go for a initial Monte Carlo analysis for getting the particularly the recovery, expected ultimate recovery, well based depending on the parameters which you are putting in. Okay, so this is how we develop a field in the initial stage of a field, stage of a field. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you.